My name is Jude. I am 30 years old. I live in a city far away from my childhood home. I work in a small bookstore. My life is simple and quiet. I like it that way. Quiet is safe. My father's name is Sterling. My relationship with him was never good. He was a hard man. He was always angry. His voice was always loud. My childhood was a long, dark room filled with his rules and his anger. I was never good enough for him. My grades were not high enough. My friends were not right. My dreams were foolish. He wanted to control everything about me. He chose my clothes. He chose my hobbies. He wanted to choose my future. I felt like a puppet, and he was the puppet master. His words were sharp. They cut me deeply. The wounds never really healed. For 30 years, I hated my father. I wished he would disappear. One day, my wish came true. When I turned 18, I packed a small bag and left. I did not say goodbye. I just ran away. I ran away from his anger. I ran away from the pain. I built a new life for myself, a life he could not touch. I only spoke to him on the phone a few times a year. Each call was cold and short. We were strangers. One morning the phone rang. It was a number I did not know. A woman's voice said, "Are you Jude? I am a nurse at the city hospital. Your father, Sterling, has been in a car accident. It is very serious. You need to come." My heart did not feel sadness. It did not feel anything. It was just a cold, empty space. I told my boss I had to leave. I got on a bus and went back to the town I ran away from. At the hospital, I found his room. I stood at the door for a long time. I was afraid to go in. I was afraid of the man on the bed. Finally, I took a deep breath and walked inside. He was pale and still. There were tubes and machines all around him. He looked small. He looked weak. He did not look like the monster in my memories. A doctor came and stood beside me. He said, "Your father was in a bad accident. He has a severe injury to his brain." The doctor looked at me with kind, sad eyes. He said, "Physically, he will recover, but his memory, it is gone. He has complete amnesia. He does not know his name. He does not know his past. He will not know you." The monster I knew was gone. In his place was a man with my father's face, but the mind of a child. I did not know what to do. I was the only family he had. The hospital said he could not live alone. He needed someone to take care of him. So I took him home with me. To my small, quiet apartment. The first few weeks were strange. He was a stranger in my home. He was polite. He was quiet. He followed me around the apartment like a lost child. He asked simple questions. He said, "What is this?" pointing to a toaster. He said, "What is my name?" I said, "Your name is Sterling." He repeated the name slowly, as if it was a new word. One day he looked at me and asked, "Who are you?" My throat felt tight. I said, "I am Jude. I am your son." He looked at me with confusion in his eyes. He said, "I have a son?" It was like a knife twisting in my heart. He did not remember the 30 years of pain he caused me. He only knew me as the kind man who brought him food. Living with this new Sterling was a constant battle inside my head. A part of me was still so angry. I remembered every cruel word, every disappointment. I remembered the boy who cried himself to sleep every night. That anger was a hot fire inside me. But the man in front of me was not the man from my past. This Sterling was gentle. He never raised his voice. He liked to sit by the window and watch the birds. He enjoyed the simple taste of tea. One day I saw him looking at an old photograph of my mother. She died when I was very young. A tear rolled down his cheek. He said, "She is beautiful. Did I love her?" I saw real sadness in his eyes. I started to see him not as my father, but as a new person. A person who was lost and needed help. I taught him how to use a phone. I took him to the library. He was curious about everything. We started talking, not about the past. We talked about books. We talked about the weather. We talked about simple things. For the first time in my life, I was having a conversation with my father. A real conversation. There was no anger. There was no judgment. There was just two people talking. It was a strange and beautiful feeling, but my heart was still divided. How could I forgive him? He destroyed my childhood. He made me feel worthless, but he did not remember any of it. Was it fair to hate a man for things he could not remember? Was this man even the same person? One evening he came to me. He looked sad. He said, "Jude, I try to remember. I try to remember being your father, but there is nothing, just a big, black, empty space." He looked at me, and his eyes were full of sorrow. He said, "I feel like I was not a good person. Was I a good father to you?" I looked at this broken man, this man who was a stranger. I saw the pain of his past in the lines on his face, even if he did not know what caused them. I had a choice. I could tell him the truth. I could tell him he was a monster. I could fill his empty mind with all the pain he gave me. Or I could let it go. I could give him a new past. I could give us a new future. It was the hardest decision of my life. I had to kill the memory of the man who hurt me. I had to bury 30 years of pain. I took a breath. I looked into his eyes. I said, "You were a good father. You were the best father. A small, hopeful smile appeared on his face. In that moment, I felt a heavy weight lift from my shoulders. The anger was gone. The hate was gone. In its place was a quiet peace. The old Sterling was dead. This new man was my father now. We were starting from the beginning, building a new relationship, one day at a time. I was no longer a victim of my past. I was free, and for the first time, I had a father I could love.